Adrian Newey just dropped a bombshell. But no one saw it. Because while every team was chasing lap times in Barcelona, Aston Martin quietly unveiled the most radical F1 design of the year. This wasn't a test car. It was a warning shot. A rear suspension so advanced, it might actually be illegal. A design philosophy that shocked engineers from Red Bull and Ferrari. And a car that could rewrite the entire 2026 season, before the first race even starts. But here's the craziest part. Newey didn't build it to win testing. He built it to win everything else. Stay with me. Because what's hidden inside the AMR26 could be the most dangerous concept Formula One has seen in years. And if you care about this sport, you cannot afford to miss this. Barcelona. 3 days of testing. 17 cars on track. And all eyes on Ferrari, Mercedes, Red Bull. But while the headlines screamed about fastest laps, long runs, and porpoising problems, Aston Martin was playing a completely different game. Their AMR26 arrived late, did fewer laps than anyone else, and ran over 4 seconds off the top times. Most people stopped watching. Most assumed they were behind. But what they missed was the point. Because this car wasn't built to impress the stopwatch. It was built to expose the future. And when it finally rolled out of the garage, just hours after being delivered to the track, the silence in the pit lane said more than any lap time ever could. No launch fanfare. No flashy footage. Just Fernando Alonso climbing into the most controversial chassis of the entire 2026 grid. Why? Because the AMR26 was designed by Adrian Newey. And if there's one thing everyone in Formula One knows, it's this. When Newey builds something that looks slow, you should probably look again. At first glance, the AMR26 doesn't scream innovation. It looks clean, simple, conservative, even. But that's exactly the trap. Because what Newey designed here was never meant to be obvious. He hid it. Right underneath the car, tucked inside the rear suspension, is a feature so radical, so against the grain, it's already being called the Newey loophole. Technically, it's just a structural element, a support, a brace. But functionally, it behaves like a second beam wing. Yes, you heard that right. The rear suspension on the AMR26 is generating downforce. That's not supposed to happen. The FIA has strict rules on where aerodynamic surfaces can exist, especially at the rear of the car. But here's where Newey plays a different game. He didn't design a movable part. He didn't create an illegal device. He simply shaped the suspension arms to channel airflow in a way that mimics the function of a downforce generating wing. No flaps, no gimmicks, just geometry. Legal? So far, yes. But ethical? Spirit of the rules? That's where the firestorm is already starting to build. Because if this works, Aston Martin may have just unlocked free downforce, with zero drag penalty. No DRS needed. No compromises in balance. Just grip, right where they want it, when they need it most. And the craziest part? It was hiding in plain sight. The moment the AMR26 hit the track, a ripple went through the pit lane. Not because of its speed, but because of its silence. No bouncing, no instability, no wasted movement. And for the few teams paying attention, the shape of that rear end? Raised eyebrows, quick glances. Then, engineers quietly pulling out phones, taking screenshots off the live feed. By the end of the day, photos of the AMR26's suspension geometry were circulating through every technical group chat in Formula One. Because even though Aston Martin logged just 65 laps, what they showed in those laps was enough to start a chain reaction. Ferrari's head of aero was spotted walking past the Aston garage. Mercedes requested additional data overlays. Red Bull? Silent. But you don't need to speak when your technical director is staring at screenshots for an hour straight. The paddock knows exactly what this is. They've seen Newey do it before. Push the envelope. Find the loophole. Exploit it, legally, before the FIA closes the gap. And speaking of the FIA, they noticed, too. They haven't ruled it out. They haven't called it illegal. But what they have done is request a technical clarification. That's the first warning shot. It's not a penalty. It's not even a protest. It's the FIA saying, "We see what you did. Now show us why it's legal." And Alonso? He said nothing. Didn't mention the suspension. Didn't brag about the trick. He just smiled. And when asked how the car felt, he gave a single answer. Like it was built for me. Right now, the AMR26 looks tame. The lap times? Nowhere near Red Bull. Nowhere near Ferrari. Not even close to McLaren. But that's exactly why this is dangerous. Because this wasn't the final version. This was day 1. The first iteration. The test mule. The car that only had to survive the Barcelona test. To unleash what comes next. And here's where it gets scary. If the FIA allows this rear suspension concept to stand, if they confirm it doesn't violate aerodynamic regulations, then Aston Martin can begin the real work. Refinement. Integration. Tuning the floor to work with the aero load. Shaping the rear airflow to amplify it. Optimizing balance through high-speed corners, where traditional downforce costs too much drag. In other words, if this trick holds up, it scales. And if it scales, it spreads. Every team will try to copy it. Some will fail. Some will spend millions chasing it. But Aston Martin? They'll already be 2 steps ahead. Because they didn't just build a clever car. They built a concept. And in Formula 1, concepts win championships. If it works, the AMR26 won't be fast right now. It'll be fast when it matters. In round 5. In round 9. In the second half of the season. When every team hits a wall. And Aston Martin is just starting to open the throttle. And Newey? He's done this before. He's built cars that started slow, looked safe, then quietly tore the field apart, once the rest of the world stopped watching. So ask yourself, what's more terrifying? A car that sets the fastest lap in testing? Or a car that hides the blueprint for how to beat everyone else, before they even know they've lost? Bahrain is next. No more hiding. No more camera angles. No more secrets. For 3 days in Barcelona, Aston Martin ran quietly. Low power. Short runs. Minimal media attention. But in Bahrain, they go full power. Race mode. No more excuses. The AMR26 will finally be driven at maximum pace, with full deployment, and nowhere to hide. And that's when we'll know. Because right now, no one has seen this car truly unleashed. Not Red Bull. Not Mercedes. Not even the FIA. The design is legal, for now. The geometry has passed inspection, for now. The rivals are watching, but they still don't understand it. But in Bahrain, they won't have a choice. If the car is fast, if it holds balance through high-speed turns, if it keeps tire life consistent in traffic, then the panic begins. Because the others didn't plan for this. They didn't build for it. They didn't prepare to fight a team that just handed Adrian Newey the keys to a completely clean slate. And that's the part no one is saying out loud. They all assumed Aston Martin would be solid, respectable, midfield, but not dangerous. Now, they're starting to realize they may have underestimated a genius. Again. So here we are. Aston Martin has taken the biggest swing of their Formula 1 life. A radical car. A genius designer. A quiet test. Followed by deafening speculation. And now, they stand on the edge of Bahrain, with a weapon no one fully understands yet. This isn't just about suspension arms. It's not just about airflow or legality. It's about whether one man, Adrian Newey, has done it again. Whether he's found the next loophole, the next evolution, the next unfair advantage, disguised as pure innovation. Because if the AMR26 delivers under real race conditions, if it holds its line when others slide, if it grips while others burn tires, if it accelerates without compromise, then Aston Martin won't just be back. They'll be dangerous. And every team that dismissed them in Barcelona will suddenly realize they've been watching the rise of a dark horse that never needed to be fast in testing, because it was built to be fast when it counts. This season is about to change. And if you blink now, you'll miss the moment. It all began.